So today we are going to take a look at The Pride of Carthage by David Durham. This is my first book review that I've ever done where I have not finished the book, and I have no intention of finishing the book. I don't think it's very good. And so I feel like I got about halfway through it, so I made a good faith effort, but I got suckered in a little bit because I'm a huge fan of Hannibal Barca. For anyone who's like followed kind of stuff of mine for a while, big fan, and I figured it really doesn't matter. I wanted to get away from some of like the like more mainstream literature and read a storybook that I thought would just be entertaining and a bit like up my alley. So I looked for Carthage books, and I got this. I read the reviews, and the reviews were like, it's not his best work. Apparently, he has a very good Rome series. And I was like, that's fine. I like Hannibal so much, doesn't matter. It mattered. The book's pretty bad. From like what I've read so far, obviously it might pick up, but it's just very stilted in the way he inserts exposition, and the characters seem very unidimensional, and you've had 250 pages to kind of try and develop them, and they are just it honestly, and the dialogue reads super stilted as well. Like the dialogue just reads like exposition. Right, like no person talks like this, and I get that he's like laying the historical like framework for like Carthage, and like it's a historical piece, right? But it's at the expense of like the characters. Like the characters, they're just very overly simplistic at this juncture. I am about 250 pages in. I don't think the book's going to get any better randomly. I already kind of want my time back, and so I'm not going to be finishing this book. But I thought I would review it because one of the big reasons I don't like to finish or don't like to not finish books even when they're bad is because I like to add them like a scalp to, you know, my I've read this list, and I'm just going to I think that creates a significant error of mine in that I read too many books longer than I should. You know, time is valuable, time is precious. I should just be more aggressive about discarding this book. So this is a did not finish book, and I think I'm gonna try and be more aggressive about this now, and I'm just gonna put it in my I read this list, even though I didn't finish it to completion, because it's not like I'm getting paid to review this or that anything like that. So let's jump into the ratings. So for utility, I gave it a 1.5. I gave it like a half a smidge because I think if like it's above a 1, obviously. Like maybe there's like some context in which knowing the story of Hannibal Barca is like useful or interesting, like especially if like the topic of Rome comes up in conversation. You know, I would just recommend reading a book on Hannibal Barca. I think Carthage Must Be Destroyed, which is just an entire long form history, was both like I would recommend that over this book, because this book is just so exposition dense anyways. It's like so novelty, I gave it a 2. If you don't read this book, really not a big deal. I really like the story of Carthage and Hannibal. Hannibal is one of my favorite historical figures because he kind of did everything right, but he still failed. And I think that that's just life sometimes. And there aren't, I don't think, enough like heroic figures that just do everything right and then it doesn't matter. You know, just because life isn't always a story. And I'm not going to tell the story of Hannibal now, as much as I'm tempted to. I'm just going to get through this review. Also, this is probably going to be my shortest review ever. For entertainment, I gave it a 5. It is a storybook. It's like mildly, like there's something there. I actually probably should have just given this a lower rating because a lot of times like the dialogue is just so stilted I'm annoyed and I'm not entertained. And so it's rough. Like the characters are just these like cutouts that are being moved around to like facilitate the passage of time through like history to facilitate this like historical grand narrative that I know is going to occur, right? Because I know the story of Hannibal and Carthage, and it's just like it's very obvious that these are just like it just feels like everything's a support piece, and then Hannibal himself is like not particularly complex, and is like kind of like this lone wolfy type character where I like disagree based on like the historical. Anyways, it's too much. Style 3. There's the dialogue. I mean, my understanding is his Rome books are very good. And there are some moments where I'm like, oh, that's kind of like a neat turn of phrase, and like there's like some things that are like redeeming, but like the dialogue is just there's so many parts of it that are just really bad. It's like nobody talks like this. Nobody would talk like this. It's just like it's just pure exposition snuck into dialogue in between blocks of exposition, and it's anyways, like I think you should just read a history book on Hannibal over this. Readability is 7. I mean, it's in storybook form. So it's like it's fairly readable, but like maybe this should even score lower because I don't think. Yeah, I mean, 7. Interest, I gave it a 4. I am tremendously interested in Hannibal Barca, the story of Carthage, all that. I've read like I don't want to say tons, but I read like multiple books on the topic, and I find the topic tremendously interesting. So for me to give this a 4 is like pretty bad. I think the overall is a 3.75. I would not recommend this book like at all to anyone. I think if you are interested in Carthage and the story of Hannibal, which I am very much interested in it, and I don't want to finish reading it, so I couldn't like normally for every book there's like a niche, and it's like, okay, if you really like this, you should read this, right? I really like Hannibal Barca and Carthage. I don't want to read this, and so I wouldn't recommend this to anyone. As like being generous to the author, I've heard his Rome series is extremely good, and so maybe there's something there, but I wouldn't recommend this to anyone. For someone who's interested in the history of Carthage itself, I would like from like in a pure exposition form, I actually really enjoyed Carthage Must Be Destroyed. There's another book that kind of tells the story a little bit more, but it's like this he's tying it in with his own life. There's this book called Hannibal and Me. I didn't like the book very much. I'd still recommend the book over this book. If you wanted something that's a little bit more narrative, I suppose, and a little bit less like stuffy and history-y. That's on the similar topic, but yeah, would not recommend this book. As far as conversations go, this is like a new thing, this like did not finish the book thing, and I'm still reviewing it, which I can appreciate to some extent is not fair, right? Because I'm reviewing without finishing it. But I've demonstrated an obvious capacity to finish books, I think. And I am tapping out. I am done with this book. And so, what are your guys' thoughts on not finishing books and reviewing them? Or just like not finishing books in general? A lot of books just go unfinished. I try not to. If I get through the first chapter, generally I finish the book. But this is just. I just want to move on to a book that is like more compelling in terms of story. This is supposed to be my easy read right now, and it is kind of pulling teeth to open it. So I'm done with that, and I hope you guys have a better one than I have had reading this book so far, and entirely because I'm done. All right, have a good one.